back to our booth at IBC, the International Broadcasting Convention in Amsterdam. This year, we once again welcome the best industry professionals to share their views on the trends and the future of the broadcasting industry. Together with me today is Alexandra Hussenot, the CEO of Immersionn. Thank you, Alexandra, and welcome to our booth. Thank you for finding the time to chat with us. How are you feeling?
Feeling great. Look, this is my first day here, so I arrived a few hours ago and started to explore the exhibition. It's amazing, very lively, lots of people.
What's the idea behind the company?
Sure, so we are a metaverse company. We are at our third pivot. Second pivot, I would say, was the most important. We started to create immersive websites for enterprises to display their very often technology products. But about a year ago, we started to work with OTT VOD, one OTT VOD client who is going to distribute a metaverse as part of their proposition of content. So for users to experience new types of content, could be games, could be virtual concerts, but could also be like a massive marketplace to buy goods and services.
Oh, that sounds very, very interesting and very innovative. But how does Immersionn differentiate itself from its competitors? What makes you special?
Very hard to say, to be honest. We've been focused on that idea of selling products and featuring and showcasing clients' products from the start. So we have a whole content management system, for example, at the back end of that metaverse that really allows to manage thousands of product portfolio that us or our client can manage themselves. So you can edit what you are going to push into that metaverse.
That's very good for the clients, that they don't have to go back to you for every single small thing that they have to change.
Yes, we did that for them initially, although it's true that the clients don't like to do any of it, even if it doesn't involve coding, but at least it's less expensive and it goes faster. So even if they decide to buy our support to do it, it's cheap support, anyone can do it, and it's fast to edit.
Yeah, I think we're at the point where the users are starting to take more initiative in changing in the products that they're using, and they want more control over the things that they use on a daily basis. But could you maybe tell me about one of the most interesting projects that you had in the past year or in the past years?
Sure, definitely that was NEOM. So NEOM is a megacity project in Saudi Arabia, $500 billion in project funding, and it's the future cognitive city. So it's got technology all over. And I remember at the time we were dreaming about, we had seen the renderings of one of the future cities in Japan, and we were dreaming about that.
Here you are.
And then suddenly, NEOM contacted us, and they said, we want your help to visualize what the role that technology will play at NEOM. And so we started to embark into this project, and that included imagining together with them the different use cases of technology and visualizing it. So that was, at the time, very, very incredible.
It sounds very incredible. I have never heard of such a huge meta city where there's billions of dollars invested in that, and that sounds very high-tech to me, and I'm glad we're at this point in history where we are having these conversations. But I also have noticed from a user perspective that although there's a lot of different VR, AR technologies such as Facebook Metaverse or the new Apple Vision Pro, but there isn't such a huge uptake from the user perspective. Not many people are using it. Would you consider this the only challenge of this industry, or what are your opinions on this challenge?
So it depends how we look at the industry. This includes the game industry. The game industry is already a fully interactive 3D kind of content experience, and the metaverse is just going to make that broader. Then going from that to not purely gaming use cases to everyday use cases like we use the web. I think it's going to come naturally with the Generation Z and the future audiences. They're growing up with that in the same way that current generations have been growing up with social medias, but the new generations will look at much more visual, much more immersive, interactive experiences. Then there is the headset, as you just mentioned. It's still very bulky. Um, it gets warm and uncomfortable to wear beyond an hour or so. We've already increased. Before, we'd say after 15 minutes you would be tired. Now we are maybe at the couple of hours level. But of course you would need to be able to be comfortable like wearing normal glasses. That should be the size, and it should be a fashion item, the same as
Fashion
your
statement,
yeah,
yes.
exactly.
So there's still a lot of improvement that needs to happen before the real uptake for the users happens.
Yes.
I see. Are there any other challenges for the industry?
Well, what's connected with that, the size of the form factor of the hardware, is the fact that you need to be able to compute and render all these heavy image in the hardware. And so if you have a small form factor and the computing aspect, then you're back to a big form factor. So you need to push everything to the cloud. And solutions like that are becoming more and more prominent. So it's like a bit like cloud gaming has been, but it's not a huge success yet with cloud gaming. But we are working with that OTT VOD client. We are going to render the whole metaverse in the cloud, and there are very few experts and solutions out there in the market. It's still a kind of an emerging technology, that as well. So yeah, I think this is another big challenge, is the computing.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that a lot of different technologies are slowly but surely moving to the cloud. And again, if we're talking about the imaginary metaverses, this is, I think, the only way that we can imagine it, that it's not always bound to a computer, but is existent in the cloud, as is the universe itself. Also, maybe another question is, I don't know what your first impression at the IBC was, but I was really surprised at how many men there are. And it's a really, really male-dominated field. And how can we, in your perspective, improve the presence of women in the media industry and also in the metaverse industry? And should we?
Yeah, of course we should. And diversity in general, not just female. Of course we should, because that's what allows you to have, I would say, almost like differentiation and competition, because you are assembling various points of views to your future company and innovations. I agree with you, it's very masculine around here. My background is the telecommunication sector, and that's very, very much the same. Women are coming more and more into this space. I'm also a Women in Immersive Technologies UK lead. We're a community of 5,000 female in Europe, trying to really identify and bring together the talents in that industry around one community. And what we try to do is, that's the number one, that's the community, identify it. Why a lot of companies are not hiring women is because they don't know where to find them. So you almost need to be proactive at resourcing women, and then you need to find where they are. And so this kind of community, we are not the only one, can really help. Tomorrow I'm going to speak as part of the Changemaker program. There is also another group that I know very well called Gals and Gear. They are doing the same, but for the broadcasting industry. So really companies to be proactive in scouting for female talent and reach out to this type of organizations, for example, to find them. Then we are fighting very much about visibility, and like in conferences like this, in panels, we have a word that we call it a manel, when it's only men. So again,
good to know. I'll note that.
Yeah, the manel. So really trying to put female forward, train and put female forward in public speaking roles, because other women will not identify themselves as potential for these sort of sectors and roles in future if they don't see other females themselves.
Of course, I see. It's really great to hear that there's such initiatives to push women more, and push also companies, not only women, because I am convinced that there's a lot of very bright and smart women who could easily lead a company or be in the panel, so we don't have to call it a manel. But thank you very much for this fruitful discussion. It was a great pleasure, and thank you for coming to our booth. And thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you in the next interview. Bye for now.